Public Safety Committee meeting, February 25th, 2019, 9:31. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. A motion for that by Supervisor, what's his name? What's it? Schwartz. And who is over here? Yeah. And Supervisor McGowan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. First on the agenda is Public Defender. Marcy, you have the floor.
I only have two things on the agenda. The first one is our request to approve a contract for our data case tracking system. The other one expired, so this is the new one. So
Okay.
these are the costs. We can't live without it.
Would like to bring that to the floor. Supervisor McGowan, second by Supervisor Hogan. Any other question on this? And this looks like it's all rates set by state and
Right.
all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. The second thing is request for a contract extension on Distribution 2. This would be from November 30th, 2017 to November 30th, 2018. In August was the last time I asked Office of Indigent Legal Services to allow us to extend this for another, so we can finish paying out the funds, and they finally, last week, said yes, we could. So I'm asking you to approve it so we can spend out the rest of the funds.
I'll move it. Okay, by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Merlino. And it looks like you have about $34,000 left to spend
There's some
on
money in
this.
there, and we want to use up the rest of the money. This would be the last extension on
Okay.
this grant, so we want to use it all.
Okay, great. Any questions? Okay, take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is District Attorney. District Attorney has the floor.
I was looking at fifth wheels. I can do a lot.
Oh, my shoulder. Okay,
There was one.
Big man out.
I better take one too.
Oh, yeah, there was one on that fireplace.
okay.
I could do that.
Good. Jason, you may begin.
Thank you. This looks very heavy. That's because we just attached our application. It's not even our application, it's the request for application. So what we're asking for permission to do is to apply for a grant with the Office of Victim Services. We already are operating our victim assistance program under that grant. That's going to terminate September 30th of this year, and we'd like to apply for the next term. The way they run them, or at least have, is 3 years plus a 2-year renewal. The last time we did this was 2014. We got the 3 years plus a 2-year renewal. That's what funds our entire program. It's important to know there is a match. It's a 25% match. OVS allows us to use internships and space to meet that match versus, cash would work too, but we've luckily been able to do that with our space and our internships to date. So the cost to the county has been historically a 5% cost of the director's salary. So they won't fund 100% of the directors because they say 5% goes to administering the grant essentially, and that's not direct victim services. They do allow us to use that portion, typically under $4,000, towards the match, if you follow that.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Simpson. And I see, thank you for sending through the whole package here, and I was looking through. Will this be more of the same, continuing on of what you're doing for the victim services?
It would look, if it goes the way we hope, it'll be identical. What we've been seeing of late is some increases in the funding they've been giving us. It is not guaranteed, it's competitive, but our hope is that they would support this program. They have historically, and we'd like to think that they will continue to do so.
Okay.
So this is just an application for that grant.
Okay, and the amount, the total amount?
We don't know the amount
Okay.
yet. So last year's, I'm going off the top of my head, might have been 205,000, just over 200,000 was last year's, which funds our director, our Joy's position, our senior, and then a part-time position. And I know I had a question.
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, other organizations in Warren County or serving Warren County receive this type of money or related type of victims services money?
Not that I'm aware of. I think we're the only OVS-funded program. So if you look inside this packet, you'll see certain programs can apply, and there's a long list. And the only one that I'm aware of in Warren County is our program that we have. Police agencies can make applications for certain reasons. Trying to think who else can. Yes. Oh, okay. It's just
But it's a different funding stream for...
They have multiple, most
Well, yeah,
non-for-profits will have multiple
Right, yeah.
funding streams, but I know OBS is one of them for pricing together.
Right, yeah.
but it's not the same program.
Okay, I guess that was my question. Yeah, it's a different
I'm sorry.
program.
Yeah, so there's one victim assistance program specifically, and that's run here in the county building, and Vino is the director. But OBS has monies that go out to, I think it's, if you read the documents, 200 different groups within the state.
We're just trying to learn this social services through either adult protective or child protective.
I don't know.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Supervisor Molina.
Sounds like a great group, and you do a great job. What if you don't get the money? What happens?
That
It's a
would-
lot of money to make.
Yeah, I think that would basically put us in,
Out of business.
I don't want to say it would end the program, but we would have to regroup. We're not anticipating that. We're monitored by OVS. Our director is in touch with OVS regularly. I think we have a site visit next week. So we have site visits, annual site visits. Everything's been going well. We've been getting good marks. We service a lot of people. I didn't bring the numbers with me. So I don't stand here in any kind of concern right now that we're not going to get it. I have high hopes that we're going to receive that.
Yeah, I did see that they come by every 2 years to monitor, so I imagine you get some sort of report card, or everything is in line with...
Site visit and some documents that we provide to them ahead of time for them to review when they come into the office and they look at my data, we get to fill out, and then we can kind of get like a report back that
Mhm. All right, good. I'm sure they have been.
If you don't mind, the supervisor, before we got started, McGowan, had asked me about space in our office. What I can tell you, and because I think this is important, as our numbers have grown, it's been more of a challenge to meet our match as far as filling internships. We're doing everything we can. We anticipate if our space grows, we're going to be able to devote some more space to the program, which would then create a larger offset to make sure that we reach that match. So there's a benefit if we do get some more space. You like that?
Is that a hint, hint, hint?
Yeah, we know you are cramped for space. Criminal Justice Public Safety did a tour with Marcy's Public Defender's Office as well. Space is an issue there. You do great with what you have so far, and thank you for making do.
Thank you
See what
very
else we can do. Yep, good. Any other business then before us here?
You have to vote on it. Vote, just a vote.
Okay, let's take a vote. All those
We did.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Buy that building on
Not here.
Not here. Brian, would you like to come on up?
Did you get one?
Yeah, I have it. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you, Supervisor Leggett.
Hey, before you get started.
Yes, sir.
Just, I don't know who all gets this publication here, the talk of the town. but there's an article here with from the ATV, "Can you hear us now? Adirondack officials call on state to help expand cell phone coverage," submitted by the Adirondack Association of Towns and Villages, Matt Simpson presiding president of the organization, and it starts out with quotes from our Office of Emergency Services Director Brian LaFleur talking about the thing. So we made it to the big time.
Anything we can do to get more technology, that's what we're into.
So,
Good. Okay, item number 1 is a resolution request to approve revisions to our county emergency management plan. We do revisions to this regularly, and we have to have that approved. If you have any questions, the author of that plan is sitting
Okay.
next to me.
that was bringing it to the table here. Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Hogan. Timeline on updating this?
It gets updated every year, so this is our typical month in which we update it because it has a requirement by New York State Executive Law Article 2B that it gets updated by April 1st. That way we can approve it at the March board meeting.
And towns need to chime in on this too? Or is this-
an email
The towns all need to do, all the incorporated jurisdictions, the city, the village, the towns, they all need to do their own plans as well. And in order to meet the state law that I just quoted, that's why I sent out that email with the template so everyone can be in compliance with the law. So anyone who's interested in doing it, give me a shout and we'll start with the hazard analysis and then we'll work on through the plan. It takes a while. It's not something you're going to do overnight.
So these revisions that are a request to approve revisions, are you still revising, or do we have that plan in front of us?
What was sent out to you is the revised plan. So the date changed, there was some names, some titles, and Appendix D and Appendix F changed.
Thank you. Any other questions? We'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries.
Number 2, a resolution request for out-of-state travel for Amy Drexel to attend the National Homeland Security Conference. This year it's in Phoenix. It's June 15th through the 22nd. She has attended this last year, and it's a very good conference. I would like to go sometimes, but my schedule doesn't allow for it, and one of us has to go, so Amy's going to go again this time.
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Simpson. Okay, any discussion? Amy?
A few things that I would like to, one thing I'd like to point out, I wasn't able to get the state contract rate for one night of the hotel stay.
Oh, that, yeah.
I did want you guys to be aware of that. Yeah, I think that was in the resolution request. And I checked again at the plane tickets. They are going up. So if this is something that you guys are willing to allow me to attend, would I also be able to get a hold of Amanda and reserve those plane tickets sooner? I'm afraid if we wait another month that this won't cover the cost of the plane tickets.
See a lot of nodding heads, so, yes, okay. Yes.
She wants to go to Phoenix in June. You must really want to go.
Yeah, I was going to
It's an academic conference, it really is.
That was a big jump there,
Yeah, it is.
between the state contract and the one night. I hope they put some chocolates on your pillow.
I'm glad that normally we get state contract rate.
Good. All right, call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Number 3.
Number 3 is a resolution request to ratify the actions of the chairman. This is a name change for the company that does the medical testing for our hazmat members.
Okay. Moved by Supervisor Sokol, second by Supervisor Simpson. And it's just the same company, just different.
Name change.
Yep. Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
You'll see a review of prior months' travel. These are things that we've already talked about. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
I just have a question about the unmanned aircraft system drones, correct?
Yes.
Where are we at? I know several years ago there was concern should the county come up with a plan. They said no, state was going to do things. Where are we at?
Right now, we're currently in the process of plagiarizing another county's plan, and we're utilizing that so that we can put that all together. I do have a unit on order. It has not arrived yet, so I was able to get a good price on one that is a medium grade. Obviously, we don't want to buy a real expensive one, especially when you're starting out. So the one that I picked out is relatively inexpensive, and I'm in the process of getting tested for my pilot's license, and we have several pilots in the county already. And I've also reached out to the undersheriff to see if any of his folks would be interested in becoming part of that team also.
Good. Good. And you'd be able to use this from everything from ice flows on the Hudson and to out and about for any emergency scenes?
That would be the goal. The particular unit that I bought, why I bought it, was it also has thermal imaging. So if we're doing a search for someone in the woods, or we're helping out trace out a brush fire, or looking at the ice flows and those kinds of things, the thermal camera is very helpful. Yes, sir.
Well,
Go ahead,
thanks,
Supervisor
Mr.
McGowan.
Chairman. Appreciate your go-ahead there, Mike, but how do we do, thanks for coming, by the way. How do we fare over the weekend, this past week with the warm weather and that? I didn't see any emergency, but we had, quite a few days of warm weather and then rain yesterday.
Yep.
How are we looking?
Amy has been watching it over the weekend, and she was there this morning. Go ahead with your...
You're talking about the ice jam, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the ice
So,
and flooding across the county.
because of the cold temperatures we had a week ago, it froze up a little bit more. Some of the channels that we had froze up. So over the weekend with the snow, or the warm temperatures and the rain, it opened back up. As of this morning, for the most part, I would say it's more open than it has been so far this year. And then with the cold temperatures that are coming for the rest of the week, they'll freeze up a little bit more. But every time that this thaw and then cold happens again, it just opens it a little bit more and a little bit more. So at the moment, we're happy with the way that it's progressing. So hopefully we won't have any issues unless we have a really exceptionally warm and rainy week and blowout. But if it continues at this rate, we'll all have a happy spring.
Well, we might have been a little safe too, because the evenings got so chilly in between the warm weather, so I'll knock on wood for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Wild?
Chairman, thank you. I just have a question about drones. Is there any way we can put a Warren County seal on these things that people can see? Because whenever a drone flies over my house, I feel like I need a bigger gun, because I don't like people spying on me.
Well, I'm
So,
going to...
can we do anything to alert the locals that this is an official drone flyby?
Well, number one, we shouldn't be flying over anybody's house unless there's an emergency. That's number one. Number two, now as of 2 weeks ago, a new regulation from the FAA, they have to be numbered like an airplane. All the drones have to have an identification number. It used to be you had to register it, but you could put the number inside the battery box or something like that. Now they're required to be visible on the outside. There isn't a lot of room on a drone to put a sticker. I'll be glad to put something on it. We'll put on it whatever we can, but
For the most part, we won't be flying over people's homes.
no, that's not legal. So again, following the rules. If we have a certain type of an emergency or a brush fire coming up towards someone's home or something like that, but other than that, there really wouldn't be any reason for us to do that. Number two, don't shoot it.
Why?
Okay.
Well, what happens if you do? Because it is just
For one, you're just lodging a
primal
firearm.
instinct there.
The law is very distinct, especially now with the numbers on it. You have just shot down an aircraft. It's the same as if you shot a rocket at a 747.
We live in the boondocks, you know.
I left with my cowboy hat on.
Yeah, with no money.
That's right.
I'd still be shooting it down though, but you're right.
Well,
Anything else?
Yep. Anything else for Office of Emergency Services? Hearing
Very good.
none, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Amy. Yep.
Sorry, Mr. McGowan, but this tax.
That's cool.
Somebody
Sorry,
start.
sorry.
I couldn't get any tax money funding for it, so what do you think?
Did you go on the door?
I had a tax application yesterday, or last week. Lady wants to put a septic system in her business.
What's that?
Sheriff Department coming in?
I can't give them anything. They asked for $10,000 to pay the parking lot. How can I get?
Started early, huh?
You know what I said to the guy?
Oh, hey! Well, what's going on?
Give them three, and then I want to see their books, because I heard they got
Is that our club? Or give them five?
Actually,
Is that our club?
we started a minute behind schedule.
The,
guy, he asked me to do that.
George Warren?
Yeah, I said, "What's-" I didn't realize they didn't have them.
Well, parking lot doesn't. I can't park them. They want to pay it.
Yeah.
Well, I would mind parking five. 2 machines, 2 buildings.
You get a copy there? A little
I know they got
in my ears.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have enough, I guess. So I
That's right.
said, I looked at that, I called them up, I said, are you nuts? I said, first off, don't leave an application unless I'm there. I said, because I would have saved me a phone call. Thank you. You're not gonna get, I said, I'll tell you, you're not gonna get that. But I wanna see all your documentation. And somebody said, oh, there's nothing, they got tons. Yeah, I get it. South, north. Try to be.
One more thing.
Hey, Sean, thanks. Good to see you again.
I don't know if I can use it. I don't know if I can use it. That's all right. Somebody gets paid. No, it's all on.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Ben was looking at whether we're gonna rent. Oh,
I have to go there might be a
Yeah, they want.
Just trying to get that through.
Yeah, what do you want to say?
Yeah.
They came and asked me for tankers.
$10
He said, well, somebody told me to ask each town for 10. I said, are you nuts? That's a sure way of with me. Huh? They get county money, 25,000. 27,000. And I want to see the reaction. I'm all done. You could do that. Because I just didn't like it. And I told my secretary, if you really want any application for extra tax, I'm sitting. Of course, I haven't been there.
I'm in my car.
Morning. He's
Good. Morning, Sean.
We have a relatively short agenda today. On the action agenda, item A is we request a resolution for a new contract with Tyler Technologies for the maintenance and support of our Tyler CAD and law enforcement records management software. It is the CAD software for the communication center, and it is the records software for the law enforcement division.
Okay, moved by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Sokol. And Sean, we did this several years ago, did we not?
We did. What Tyler no longer does, when we entered into an agreement with them, when we went back to them in 2013, they originally did, I think it was a 4 or 5 year contract. They no longer do that. They basically do year to year. But what I did lock them into is we saw a 4% increase this year, and they said they would do no more than 4% for next year. So we're able to lock it in for 2 years at this point.
At this point, it's pretty much a sole source. These are the folks
It is their sole source, are the ones that, it's their software, they're the ones that can maintain it.
It's been working well?
Yeah, it works very well. Unfortunately, it's not cheap.
It's not. Supervisor McGowan?
Yeah, I do remember talking about this last year when it came in, and you saying that they were changing their contract from a 5-year to year to year, and thank you for getting us locked in at a 4%.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, number
Item B is request to amend the budget to reflect revenue from Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services 2018 statewide interoperability communications grant in the amount of $522,261.
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Supervisor Gary, seconded by Supervisor McGowan. Any other discussion on this? And this is in addition to all the other interoperable.
That's correct. This is money we were awarded this year after applying for it.
More towers and
It's good. The whole grant pays for radio equipment. So whether it's replacing equipment at existing sites or adding new sites, it takes care of that.
Supervisor Wild?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sean, where is this? I know this money comes from federal. Where it comes from?
It gets disseminated to us by New York State Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services.
New York State. So I'm curious, does the county, does each county get $500,000?
Each county has to apply for money. My understanding is that this pot of money comes from the 911 surcharges that the state collects, and they give out a portion of what is collected.
Okay. So is this like the max the grant could be, or?
It's fluctuated over the years. I think the highest we saw was 550 something. We've only gotten them 3 years, so it's hard to say where they're going to continue to remain right now.
Okay. So, and just as a follow-up, are we adding additional capabilities, or we're just upgrading our existing?
We're adding and upgrading at the same time. We still have areas, anybody that serves in fire, police, EMS, they know where those areas are, where we have marginal or no service still, since we narrowed in.
So we'll be able to close all those gaps at the end of this?
We are trying to plug all the holes, so to speak, and as we move forward.
Supervisor McGowan?
To kind of add on to Mike, one of the things that they were able to move on and work on, I believe, is Ridge Road up there, the landfill that went up in the Cabricki property. Are we able to,
We have...
planning, I think you had some room there to put up.
The tower that we got in on the ground floor when they went through the planning stage with the town of Queensbury was a brand-new tower that was erected right off 149
On
near
140, okay, that was
Oxbow
the other
Hill.
one, 149. Right.
And because we got in early through the approval process, I was able to negotiate a rent, which is typically $4,000 per month, down to $500 per year. They also constructed the tower at a height which would accommodate our equipment.
That's the one I remember coming to planning, so thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No. Motion carries.
Item C is we request a resolution for a new contract with OCV LLC, also known as thesherifapp.com, to build and maintain a public safety application for iOS and Android devices for the Sheriff's Office. We had originally reached out to the Director of IT, Michael Colvin, about 3 years ago to build an app for our office, and we still don't have an app. I don't have an answer as to why we don't have one. He seems to always be short-staffed, and we're tired of waiting to have an app. The agencies around us have them, and we're going to use commissary money to pay for it.
Commissary money?
Yes.
Okay, moved by Supervisor Sokol, second by Supervisor Molino. Yes, go ahead.
Does the Glensville Police Department have access to this? Will they be able to access the data?
On the application?
Yeah.
So the best way I can explain it to you, it's something you download onto your either Apple phone or onto your Android device. and you're able to receive push notifications, access all different facets of our office, report crimes, report tips, look for sex offenders. You can go in, deposit money into an inmate's account. You can look up inmates.
I understand that from the public side, but what about from their side?
From a public safety,
I don't believe they have an app like this.
I don't know if they do or they don't. This one is
You
specific
just
to
said
Sheriff's
that,
Office.
I'm sorry. I'm a little grouchy this morning. Do they have an app like this?
Ma'am, I can only speak to what the Sheriff's Offices have. Washington County has one.
Oh,
Albany
okay.
County Sheriff's Office has one, and as do a whole bunch of other sheriff's offices.
Yeah, there's a list here in the...
Who has one?
So Albany County has them, Montgomery, Fulton, Rensselaer, Washington County Department of Public Safety has them.
Yes,
And
the fourth page.
the cost on this, is this about the... Are you doing any more of the marketing packages? What are you...
We're not, if we got in by a certain time, I think it's reflected on that quote that we have there. There is no cost for the marketing package. We're not paying extra for the Vine link or the other stuff. It'll simply bring you out to the Vine, and you can access it through that. I don't believe it's worth the extra upgrade to pay for that.
Supervisor Hogan?
Will this supplement or replace the phone notification system?
For,
You know, the push, you were saying...
oh,
push.
for like the NY alert?
Yeah.
This is a supplemental to that.
Okay, you're not
Obviously,
eliminating...
No, it would be dependent on people actually downloading this application onto their phone.
I think it's great. We've had issues where we live because we have so many seasonal owners that don't have landlines.
Oh.
So when you have something that happens, they don't necessarily get notified, and something like this, they'll, it puts a little more of the onus on them to opt in and then they'll get the notification. So I think it's great.
Supervisor Bramer?
Thanks. I think it's a good idea. Have you done any analysis of whether people in our area are actually going to download this app?
Have I done an analysis of it?
Or this company to tell us whether this is actually going to work from a practical standpoint?
They have told me in other sheriff's offices around New York that the application is downloaded quite a bit. And it's not just the residents that live here, it's the people that travel to Warren County. They can put this on their phone as well. So if there's a weather event or a road closure, any number of things, they will also be aware of it.
Supervisor Bramer, then Supervisor Wild. Not Bramer,
Oh,
sorry. Hogan.
well, I do have one. Can I ask one question? On my question before about the Glens Falls PD, will you be able to give them access to the data, the back end of the app, or are you not able to do that? We're not willing to share, how does that work?
I'm not sure what data you're looking for us to give it. We share data with everybody, but specifically what data?
Like if they submit, someone has the app and they submit a tip thing and it's in Glens Falls, will that,
We would notify them.
if it's an issue in Glens Falls, and they would,
Absolutely.
yeah.
They're the primary law enforcement agency for the city. We always
Right,
do that.
right, okay. I just want to make
Supervisor
sure we're
Hogan and
connected. I mean, I'm sure
Supervisor
Bolton PD wants the same type
I
of...
missed... Are we looking at one now?
Don't want to make both
all
women
right.
cranky this morning, is that what it is?
So,
Thank you. Will this company help the county to get the word out once the app is developed?
Yes.
Is that part of the package?
Yes.
okay, Supervisor Wild?
Chairman, thanks, Sean. I think it's a great idea. I'm just curious, can we tie OES with this? So if there's like weather alerts or something like that, that we can kind of get the same platform to send similar type of information?
So, the backstory on this is when we originally went out for pricing, this was done in conjunction with OES and Brian LaFleur. The money that we're using to pay for this is jail commissary money. It's very restricted how we can use it. When we inquired as to whether we could have them be part of this, the overall package, we were advised to not have them on there. That could complicate things for us as far as the use of the money. So the weather notifications, all that other stuff, it'll still go out through there. And unfortunately, we just can't include OES with it right now. If we were taking it out of asset forfeiture, or if we had grant monies to pay for it, we could certainly do that.
They couldn't pay the supplemental to have their data be part of this also, if they capture it.
I'm sure they could probably hop on if they want, but right now...
Is there value to it?
I think there is value to it, and that's why when we first looked at it, I did sit down with Brian and Amy Drexel as well and go over it.
I'm in support of this. Maybe we can get with Brian and Amy and see what kind of, as they develop this app, to make sure that there's some kind of hooks or channels or pipelines to be able to get their data that's being used.
I think we can accommodate that. Right now, I just want to get it going, and then I think we can build on
Yeah, I
it.
don't want to delay it.
Sheriff?
Yeah, this is something that I started working on 4 years ago, but I was hoping to have this up 4 years ago. For some reason it didn't, but OES has always been in mind to do it, and now that we've got it through the commissary money, we don't want to complicate it, but I believe it's an easy do. We've been in contact, Sean's been in contact with Brian and Amy. That's an easy do, so we'll make sure we'll leverage that to make it happen.
This will make the department more robust, the interface with the public, which is always important. Will it bring efficiencies to your department, or will it have some more time demand because of it?
No, I think it will make things more efficient, because right now, if somebody calls in, we have a dedicated landline if they want to make a tip. We know who's responsible for checking that, so that message may sit there for a period of time versus this message will come in, somebody will be monitoring it real time. No different than our Facebook account. I'm one of the people that monitors the messages we get through Facebook, and you would be surprised how many people think you can send a message through Facebook to get a patrol to come to your house. And I have to tell them, you need to call 743-2500, option 1, want to have a patrol come to your house. I think this is part of it. People are getting so used to using technology that they can do everything through their phones, through typing and whatnot. So I think this will be a tool. It's not going to cost the taxpayers anything because we're paying for it out of commissary money.
And you can even pay bail. Supervisor Bramer.
Will people be able to, call 911 except using this? Will it be the equivalent, real time? Like, if they have an emergency and they can't make a phone call, but they could get on their app and do this? Or is it not for that kind of...
I don't believe, I mean, I can't answer that accurately. I don't believe you can do that. I don't think there is no replacement for calling 911.
Supervisor Hogan.
I'm just going to remind everybody that this app is only as good as our broadband and our cellular coverage, so we need to keep pushing to improve that in the county, please.
That's right, and as I brought up in the beginning, can you hear me now? Hear us now? We're working on Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one additional question, Sean. How do tourists and guests of the area know how to...
know that this is available to them?
And how they access it? Because I'm asking as a kind of a naive person about it.
I think we could certainly advertise it through our tourism people.
Okay.
We can put it on our webpage.
All right, good.
We'll put it on the
Okay.
webpage.
And we will, as the sheriff said, it'll be on our webpage. We'll put it out to our Facebook. We certainly want to encourage people to use it.
Right.
Yeah. Supervisor Merlino.
Once you get it done, just let us know. We can put it on every advertisement we do to the county tourism.
Okay.
Or brochures or outlets, magazines.
That would be great.
Well, we have the motion on the floor. Let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Item D is we're requesting permission to fill patrol officer number 34, being promoted to an investigator's position. Item E is request permission to fill an investigator due to retirement. Investigator Chris Hatton's retiring as of the 27th of this month.
It's like tomorrow. So, Supervisor Garrity is making a motion.
D and E.
Both of them? D and E, and it's seconded by Supervisor McGowan. Any discussion on these? Okay. Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I have one other item that's sitting by its lonesome here because it came in after I did the agenda. Our traffic safety unit is desperately in need of upgrading the software and the hardware interfaces that they use when they investigate fatal and serious motor vehicle accidents. They have the ability to download the data control modules that are in every motor vehicle. They did not bring this to me during the budget process last year. I did speak with the county administrator and the deputy county treasurer about this, and the suggestion was to ask for the money out of contingency because we did not set aside money to pay for this upgrade this year.
Motion bring it to the floor. Moved by Supervisor McGowan. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Garrity. And you have, these are updates, you do have...
We currently have the software, and you would think that one cable would fit all cars, but apparently every time they come out with a different car, different make, different model, sometimes there's different nuances, and you have to get different cables, different interfaces to network with them. And it's like any software, there's different versions. As it gets upgraded, we're behind.
Supervisor Bramer.
Is there any money in your contract line or data software something account?
An extra $6,800?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was 1,000. Well, yeah, 6,800.
No, we didn't budget for this year. So everything that's in those line items is accounted for based on the contracts that we have.
Life expectancy of this, Sean?
It's something that I know every year we're buying cables for it. And I imagine the software gets updated as well. But because we're so far behind, I think if you look at the breakdown, that's why it's so large right now.
Supervisor Wild.
Mr. Chairman, Sean, how often do we use this? You know, just the reason for my question is it's like big brothers continuing to watch us, right? We drive our cars and somebody can come plug in and find out, you know, what the car was doing 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes before an accident.
So when do we use it? We only use it on serious and fatal motor vehicle accidents.
Okay. And is this
If you were
like
driving...
is this like something, if there was prosecution or something like that this is required, or is this something insurance companies would be better off paying for or supplementing us, because they're the ones that are probably more financially involved in incentive to see some of this data?
It's part of a thorough criminal investigation. It's part of reconstruction of an accident. Myself, I'm a reconstructionist, and this is a valuable tool that we have to verify what we see at a scene. When we do the calculations of skid marks or yaw marks or crush damage, this is all part of it. I can speak of one accident years ago. I investigated up on Route 9N, and it was a full-size truck took a small SUV nearly head-on. And because we were able to download that truck, we showed the truck was still accelerating, and it was in excess of 100 miles an hour when it hit that other vehicle. I don't necessarily know we would have been able to come up with all that information just based off the damage and the evidence we had at the scene.
So just as a follow-up, you know, related to the insurance piece, you know, the ones more financially incentive to get this information are the insurance companies.
No, this has nothing to do with the insurance companies. This is part of a thorough police investigation.
Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you. So this would be an expenditure that the district attorney's office would fully support?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just so you know, I believe they used it in an investigation up in Beechroot on homicide. They actually, I think, went into that computer system in the car to help them with the investigation process. So yeah, it could
So we're
be-
providing an additional tool to that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
Supervisor Bramer.
Is there any opportunity for sharing this cost with Washington County or surrounding county? I can't imagine we use these things a ton.
I can't speak as to what they use in Washington or Saratoga County. They have their own agencies, obviously, and they have their own reconstruction teams.
We're talking about software, though, right? That you use.
It's software and hardware.
Mobile device. Budget Officer Thomas, pulling out of the contingency, how are we doing? Okay.
Haven't used it yet.
Like being the first.
February.
Yeah. Any other questions? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Is that it? Sean, any updates?
The only thing under topics for discussion, I always update you how many vacancies we have in corrections, and it's the same as last month, 9 correction officers and 1 correction sergeant. They're still on they just gave the PT test last week.
I heard.
Hopefully we can start filling those positions.
Had 10 or 15 people take that?
I know there was about a dozen. I don't have the exact number.
17?
Yeah, we got some, we've already got candidates. Hopefully fill those positions.
Good luck with that. All right. Thank you.
Sheriff has a couple letters he wants to...
I want to just, seeing how we're speaking of corrections, I thought important, and this won't take long. I've been broached a number of times over the last couple of months about the jail and I won't get into certain aspects of it, but most people that we have in this jail a lot of them are career criminals, and how we run the jail in Warren County certainly is different than the way jails are run across New York State. We're a little tougher. We believe in discipline, and we believe that the discipline that we do goes a long way into helping people become better citizens. We can have all the programs in the world and throw them at a jail, but if you don't have discipline in the jail, if your COs and your people that are controlling the inmate population on a daily basis are not in control, are not running the jail, it's not going to be worth anything. So, with that said, I just want to read a couple of letters. We get these letters a couple of times a year. I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago I read one. I don't read them all the time, but these two were special. So I wanted you folks aware of it. These are from 2 career criminals. I won't give you their names, but if you would indulge me, I'll read the letter that they wrote.
Please.
And it's to Inspector Barboza, Marlo Barboza. This letter that I'm about to write you, I think I can safely say, will be one like I'm sure you haven't received before. Ms. Barboza, I respect you to the fullest, as you know from me telling you before, and since I'm going to speak to you in this letter as if we are just 2 human beings. I want you to know I do so with continued respect for you and your position as inspector of this facility. That being said, I've been doing a lot of thinking about my life lately, especially with Christmas coming up and my dad getting old and me just being sick of, I won't repeat the word, tired of being in jail, and I got to thinking about all the wasted years I spent locked up and all the different jails, prisons I've been in, the troubles with most of these jails, prisons, and how they are run, and I've got something to say. Out of all the jails, prisons I've been in, I've got to give it to you as to how you got this one running. For nothing, this is the only, and only is in big letters and quotation marks, the only jail that I've ever been in that has 0 drugs in it, the illegal type, 0 alcohol, hooch, and 0 tobacco. That's amazing in itself. And then there's the fact that the atmosphere itself is so calm, safe, compared to any other jail prison I've ever been in, I think I've seen. Maybe one fight in here over the last 5 months, that's unheard of anywhere. Most places have fights popping off once or twice a week. And the staff here, officers as well as civilians, are so respectful for the most part, and nothing like some of the crazies I've seen in other places. Not for nothing, Ms. Barboza, but I've got to give you your props. Because you are a woman of integrity, you don't take from anyone. You're smart, strong, fair, and strict. In other words, you're a warrior. I'm in a respectful manner of speaking, and I'm quite amazed how one person can make such a huge difference. You and I are the same in some aspects. We're both human beings, both stand up for ourselves, both strong-minded, and we are different. And we are different than others, like you're a law-abiding woman, and I'm a prisoner, incarcerated, but the facts are the facts. And fact is, you run a tight ship, are hated by most, no surprise there. But the whole correction system in general would be a lot more secure and safe if there were more people like you in charge. I'm not being disrespectful. I want absolutely nothing in return for writing this letter, and it's all true. So, if for one, I am grateful and appreciative that care, custody, and control you put into your job to make Warren County Correctional Facility a much safer and more pleasant place for both officers and inmates alike. Thank you, Ms. Barboza. I'm grateful. And may you have a very Merry Christmas surrounded by family, friends, and memories to the best of life. That's a career criminal. And the spelling's pretty good. One last one, a guy from Brooklyn. Okay, I wanted to get somebody from out of the area. This is a little shorter. But again, it jumped off the pages at me. And again, the handwriting is very nice. Ms. Barboza, I would like to thank you for the advice you've given me in regards to getting my shit together. Being the driver of my bus and taking control of my life. Your words gave me a sense of peace and motivation. Before the conversation, while facing the charges that I'm facing, I still had thoughts of how can I continue to commit crime and get away with it? How can I be better at it? But the statement you made cut into me real deep. You said, and I quote, "Would you sacrifice someone else's baby to provide for yours?" And I never looked at it like that. It don't matter how many excuses I make to answer the question, but I can't escape the guilt. But I guess I'm giving the prison system my youth. For all the bad I've done, I'm paying for the price for living that life. And it's sad to say that where I'm from in the Bronx, New York, Soundview Projects, going to prison while remaining loyal is a badge of honor. As stupid as that sounds, but that's how things are around my way. Living by the code has brought such pain, and pain is capitalized, to my family, children, and loved ones. But I still can't manage to break the cycle. I'm trying and learning as I go. So to wrap this up, I just would like to let you know that I'm grateful for your advice, time, care, and concern. My whole 37 years of living, I never felt like a child that would get advice or a speech from their mother. I've never experienced that growing up. It's been a great measure to me. Thank you. I wish you well, all in life, more success and beauty of all things life has to offer. And he signs it. That's telling, folks. I want you to know from my perspective, as sheriff for the last 11 years, the jail has gone from Camp Cupcake, if you didn't know that, that's what it's called, to a jail where no prisoners want to come because of all the rules. Because we don't let them run the jail. We make our officers run the jail. It's a difficult life. It's a difficult life for the corrections officers. Not everybody can put up with it, because there are those there who call you names, who tell you that you're going to murder your kids and your wife when they get out. It's a very difficult life. But if you maintain control of a jail, like we do in Warren County, I wish more counties did it, you'd have a better control of your population. And I want you folks to know that. That's how we run this jail. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thanks for sharing those. It's always good to hear. Any other comments from the committee? Hearing none, motion then to adjourn. Supervisor Garrity, second Supervisor McGowan. Thank you all.